This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Now today I'm going to do something I've never done before. I want to talk about a game that I've been messing around with and trying to wrap my head around. And the couple times I've played it, I've run into some stumbling blocks, but there's some really good things about this, and then there's some things that I kind of scratch my head about. So this is kind of just a little bit of a preview, and this is Dungeons of Doria so far, okay? Because I don't want to judge it too harshly yet until I get even more things. But I want to go over it a little bit and talk a little bit about it and explain why I've been taking so much time with this before I really give you a complete kind of feel of how I feel about it. So what we're going to do is I want to show you some of the components so you know what's going on here. And I want to show this off. And then we're going to talk a little bit about there, and then we're going to come back up and talk about some of the things that I talked about, and we'll take it from there. Sound fair? Okay, let's go down to the table and check it out. So I'm kind of going to go over this. I'm not going to go over everything. I want to give you a kind of feel and have you see where I am with this and take a look at this and see if this is for you. There's a lot of interesting things about this. One of the things is the tiles. They're nice. They're very basic, old school kind of dungeon tiles that go together. You got your little opening here, and of course, you are going to be putting these together like so, and then you are going to have a bunch of different standees. There's a few characters that you're going to be able to play from, and the variety isn't huge, but it's your basic guys: rangers, huntress, which is an archer, a mage, shield maiden, rangers, like I said, and warriors. Of course, how can I forget the warrior? One of my favorite things to play. Everything is standees, which I'm perfectly fine with because it's just that less that I have to paint. Here's a orc spear thrower, and we've got goblins, and which are really cool, and this is a slime crawler. All right, so very kind of generic things, and you can't forget the troll. So you got the art's beautiful on it, so it really works. I have never seen as many treasure cards in a game as this, and I've played quite a few games in my time. Pretty amazing the variety of cards that you're going to run into. You're going to have door cards, so as you go through doors, certain little events that will happen along the way, and then you're going to have even more treasure cards and things like that, which will side potions and swords and things like that you are going to be utilizing in this game. As I move these out of the way, the villains, of course, they're going to have their own cards as well as you're going to have your cards. You're going to have level 1, and you're going to be working your way through depending on the stories, and we'll take a look at the books in a minute. But the art is beautiful, and everything is just where you need it and how to use it and such. So just really, really, really interesting things. We're going to leave a well, let's just go through here. Orcs, all the real basic stuff, which really is fun, because I just like fighting basic things at times. There are tons of tiles for replayability, and you are going to be getting loot upon loot upon loot as you go through this, because you are going to be playing a specific person. Okay, for instance, we have the adventurer here. Now they have a couple of numbers here, as hopefully you can see, like strength and constitution. You're gonna put these numbers together and divide these together and get a number. And that number is going to go down into your sheet, which I think I had right over here. And I want to be careful. One of the nitpicky things that I have about this is these little tokens here. You're going to have this paper sheet, and it's going to keep track of that. So like I showed you, when you take that and you're going to put your strength and constitution, you're going to divide them into each other, and you're going to get your numbers. So it basically, not, 9, you split in the middle. What's in the middle of 9 and 9? Well, basically 9. So it's going to come down here. You're going to have 9 health. 8 and 8, well, your initiative is going to be 8, and your psi is going to be 8 as well. As you put these numbers across, they're going to help you for tests and stuff like that. This is how much experience you have, how much health that you're going to have. Remember, we said that person's going to have 9. Okay, how much your psi level is, which is 8, and our initiative. Now, this is where this gets interesting. You're going to have this card, and it's going to have a doom track. As this thing starts going downward, okay, bad things are going to happen once it gets to 0. On the other hand, this is your initiative chart, okay, and what you're going to do is everything is run off a D10. So you're going to roll, and as you can see, I got a 9 and a 3, which is 12. Plus 8 is going to be 20. That's going to be 20 action points. And you're thinking, action points? Yeah, action points. And it costs you 1 point to move. So you're thinking, wow, we can just fly right through this whole thing. Not so fast, my friends, not so fast. Because, for instance here, if you go to attack something and you're going to use a weapon, which I had out here and it was available to me. Hold on, bear with me, folks. For instance, say I had a tomahawk. First of all, you've got to make sure that you have the strength and whatchamacallit, that will add up to that, okay? If you don't, you're not going to be able to use this particular weapon. Now, I have a strength 9, that's great, okay? And I have a perception of 8. Well, that means I can't use this, but let's just for giggles say that I can, okay? I qualify to use this, and it's 2d6, okay, plus 3, okay? But the problem is it's going to cost me 14 action points to make this attack. So out of those 20, I'm going to use that up pretty quick. So for instance here, I'm going to roll 2d10, and that is going to be 7 plus 4 is 11, and plus 3. Okay, so 11, that's going to be 14. The zombie is going to roll, and 9 and 9 is 18. Well, they fended that off, but let's just say they rolled a 2 or something, a 3. Okay, you're going to add that together. I beat it by 1, and it only has, I beat it. As long as I beat that roll, I'm going to do 1 damage to it, and it only has 1 hit point, so I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to get the experience points for it. This is the initiative track, so where it will go on our initiative track. And remember what we talked about, not only is that initiative track when you go first, but it also tracks where, as far as your actions. So you have your initiative, who's going to go first, and your action points all on this board here, okay? The doom counter, plus 1 step for any rooms. Tiles with players, plus 1 step if no doors were open. Effects immediately. There's all kinds of things that go into it. You're going to keep track of the group XP as you kill things, so you can level up. And then on the other side, you have the same thing for that, which I'm trying to figure out as well. Like I said, the cards are beautiful. They've got beautiful art. They do, each creature has a level, and it has certain things that it'll do, okay, as it attacks and such. So there's, some uniqueness there. Your player cards, you can accessorize yourself with all kinds of different things, because you're going to be using uh, all the loot that you're going to get, because you're going to be running into tons of loot. You can go to certain areas, like over here would cost you anywhere from 3 to 5 action points. You can get 1 or 2 loot cards, and you're going to get these loot cards, and you're going to be able to spend some of these cards. You're going to have, it's like you have a magic backpack that you can reach into, and a store will open up, and you could buy things as you're traveling. So there's no going to town and stuff like that. It's very unique, and something I'm really working on and trying to figure out. As you see, you put you're going to be put, and see, these things are going to get lost. That's the thing that's going to drive me nuts. You could probably just use a pencil and search them up, but you put your sheet right here, and you build your character, what he has on his belt, what he has on his right hand, his feet, his legs, accessories, torso, and so forth and so on, and then in your backpack as you go. You're going to be playing through a bunch of different phases here. Okay, so you are going to be moving the round markers, placing new shop items. That's what I'm talking about, where you can reach into the backpack and pull out fill up with 3 cards, and then potentially buy them. Roll for initiative. Action phase, we talked about that. Poison checks, doom counter, we talked about that. And then level up phase, and then buy or remove shop items, and then the next turn. The neat thing about it, and forgive the mess here because we're trying to go through this, you've got a book that's really kind of, if you could play this solo and do some one-off scenarios, and then you have these room events that you can add in. There are tons and tons of different rooms you can utilize, and you can, as you can see, there's just tons of stuff that different things will happen in. You are going to have your book of rules, and it does a pretty good way of explaining everything and what everything does. You're going to go through, and requirements of equipment, like we talked about a bit. You're going to be looking at this area, so it explains everything very, very, very well in that instance. The thing that really goes well with that is the quick start guide, okay? And this is where you are going to get a feel for everything, and it'll break down all the cards. It'll show you how to set up your first game, how everything works out, from modifying initiative points, your attacks and such values, and that you're going to see on the card, how to set up your first game, preparing for your first game, what you're going to need, how you're going to do it. Here, again, like I showed you on that sheet, how that works. Rolling for initiative, you're going to have these nice big tokens that you are going to... Oh, I just had the doggone token. We'll go figure. See, I told you the tokens. You're going to put the tokens just like that for the people. Oh, here they are. That you are going to have in your party. You can go this alone. Your round markers, new shop items, like I said, the magical pouch, searching for treasures, what it's going to cost you, how your psi levels, your casting things, those are going to cost, poisons and things that you're going to run into, and then explaining how the next rounds go through, and the negative hit points. Once a character has reached negative hit points or psi points, for that character must use 1 die less than usual for initiative, in addition to subtracting the negative points from the initiative too, but only the lower value of both. Any character that does not reach at least 1 action point on the initiative roll at the beginning of the round is rendered unconscious. So this is where this kind of gets frustrating, is that you can end up in the negative here, and if you can't get up through there, okay, to at least get 1 point, you're unconscious, and it's going to hurt your other teammates, because they're going to have to drag you along, which is going to cost them action points, which is going to bog down the game. And where it's very, it's a smart, it's a new mechanic, and it's unique. I just don't know if it works enough here. But we're going to keep going with this, and we're going to try to find out. And that's one of the things that I want to give this enough time, because there's a lot of unique things that go with this. Invasion of the Greenskins. You're going to have, at least 8 scenarios in each one of these, and each one of these has like a wonderful story. The Book of Destiny, the Power of Elements, the Grim Reaper, and single scenarios. So there's a lot to this, and there's a lot of heart put into this, and I want to give this every instance that it can. I'm right now at the midway point, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because in case some of you are curious or wondering, what to do with this, whether to go get this or not. And I think we'll talk more about that up top. So let's go take a look at this and talk about this very unique game. And I'm going, like I said, this is where I am with Dungeons of Doria so far. So this has, so far, a lot of really old school qualities that I really like. Always keep it simple sometimes. Sometimes, certain games get away from basic fantasy, and I kind of like basic fantasy with, a different story. But, you've got orcs, orcs and skeletons and zombies and all those things, and those are always fun to fight. Dragons, the bosses are fantastic. This thing has just a very old school feel, and the amount of treasure cards you have are just insane. This is just one pile. I've never seen this much loot in my life. And the variance of loot really makes the game interesting so far. The thing with the action points, it just, for me, it kind of, it does well. I get it. It's a different twist on thing. It's unique, but you think you got like 35 action points. Well, that's really not a lot. Especially if you go swinging with a weapon here that needs 18 of it, okay, and then you want to you find you make your move with your action points, and then of course if you go on the tiles and you try to find loot, that's going to be anywhere to 3 to 5 points. And you find that it gets used up pretty quick. As a matter of fact, there's I think I showed you guys the card in here with some of the costs here. To walk is 1 AP. To jump is 5. Okay, and it really depends on you rolling your dice. If you roll double ones, well, you're in trouble. You're not doing anything that action round, and that could be devastating. If you have to carry a character, that can cost you anywhere from 2 to 10 points. Repairing items, throwing items, searching for treasure, like I said, revealing a room doesn't cost anything right off, and swapping places, costs you 5. I think when you start getting into the negatives, though, of the numbers, and eventually you can get yourself, you start hurting your other teammates, and that I found was a little off-putting. And then to level up, having to try to level both numbers, depending on where you're at, to get a higher point, it takes you a couple of levels to level up an attribute, which may not help you that much at all. So leveling up almost kind of feels off a little bit. Again, I'm going to give this some more time, and I'm going to work at it because I want to make sure that we really go over it and do a great job. And that's why I kind of showed you guys the quick start guide instead of getting into the really big mechanics of this. It's I think some people are really going to love this beyond human belief. For me, I'm still trying to get my feel for it. So, for those of you that have been waiting for this is kind of a, hey, here's where I'm at video. talking about Dungeons of Doria, and I'm going to keep working on this. I've vowed that I was going to take more time with things, more time, and really kind of really showcase things the way I feel comfortable. That when I'm done, I've showed as much as I can of it. So we're at this kind of midpoint with this. I'm going to dive back into this, but I really think a lot of people are going to like this. For me, I'm just trying. I think it has a little bit of a curve to it. It's not that it's a hard game. It's some of these new mechanic things are they're very intuitive and very they have a sense of brilliance, or some of them kind of feel like they bog things down. And with this here, I really feel that because it has so many campaigns in it, you can play single player, you can create your own villains and stuff like that. It's very sandbox and wide open, and it has so much potential. And I'm hoping really to get to the bottom of it. So again, this is where I am so far, and like I said, we'll keep going with this, and then we'll come back and we will have another video, probably in about a week or two, on my final thoughts of Dungeons of Doria. So until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.